So this is a story that sounds remarkably similar to the last story I just told you, but this time it takes place in where else? Iowa. Because a Republican in Iowa this week filed her own bill to ban satanic displays or the practice of Satanism on state property. Um I know we just talked about this in Arizona, but in Iowa, they are now trying to go even further. And again, why are they doing this? It's probably because just a couple months ago, there was a satanic display in the Capitol building, and it caused such a havoc because so many right wing, gentle people could not handle the idea of a non Christian display that they flipped the hell out, and another dude came in and vandalized the display. So I'm going to show you this bill because there's a lot going on here. Here we go. There we go. Let's go through this bit by bit. This is about satanic displays or the practice of Satanism on state property. Let's read through this because there's a lot going on here. I should tell you one other thing. This is sponsored by State Representative Sandy Salmon. We'll talk about her in a bit, but she's the culprit here. Okay, back to her bill, and we'll talk about these bits one by one. Okay, the state or any political subdivision of the state shall not recognize organizations or individuals who refer to Satan as a deity, worship Satan, or who reference Satan or Satanism as part of the organization's or individual's religious practice as an establishment of religion, which already gets to the heart of religious freedom. Like, the government is forbidden from restricting rights from people on the basis of their religious beliefs. That applies to Satanists and atheists and Muslims and Christians. By not recognizing them, the Iowa government here would effectively be discriminating on the basis of faith. That's illegal. So what are we even doing here? It is also weird to see Salmon go after groups that refer to Satan as a deity or who reference Satan as part of their faith, because you know who that includes? Christians. They're the ones who think Satan is a fallen angel. They're the ones who make constant references to Satan in all their fire and brimstone sermons. No one believes in Satan more than like white evangelical Christians and Southern Baptists and Catholics. Like, so what are we doing? Why are you mad about people who reference Satan? Because if you actually could ban them and the state can't recognize them, this hurts Christians, not like Satanists who don't actually believe in Satan. So that's messed up. Let's keep going down this bill. Displays, symbols, or the practice of satanic worship shall not be allowed on public property, in public schools, on property owned by public schools, or on any property owned by the state or its political subdivisions. It's a word salad. I think this is in response to those good news clubs, the Christian clubs that are in school. And then lately, we have seen more stories about the Satanic Temple's after school Satan Club pop up in several places. And so they don't want that to happen either. They don't want any non-Christian group taking advantage of the law to do what Christians do all the time. So again, blatantly unconstitutional, number 2. Number 3, any act of satanic practice or worship that involves the ending of a life or the shedding of blood, whether the sacrifice be an animal or human, is prohibited. Which just makes me wonder, what satanic rituals has Sandy Salmon been to where they sacrificed like a goat and then a 15-year-old? I don't know. It doesn't happen. What are we talking about? I'm guessing if you talk to a bunch of Satanists, they're probably like vegan. So, so look, I'm all for it. Let's not sacrifice humans or animals. That's a great idea. Here's what I'm afraid of. If this bill were to pass, they would just say that, like, oh, if you have a religious reason, Satanists, to get an abortion, because they have gotten press about this in the past, where they say you can't ban abortion because we have a satanic religious abortion ritual that says I have the right to have an abortion. They haven't won with that case, but it exists. But the thing is, what I'm afraid of is if they say you can't have any satanic practice or worship that involves the ending of a life, if this bill passed, would they just say, oh, you can't have an abortion because that's the ending of a life, and I don't care if you're doing it in the name of Satanism? That's what I'm a little afraid of. Number 4 here on this list, a violation of those subsections is a criminal offense subject to prosecution under the laws of the state. Like, if anyone does this stuff, they want to go after them in court, and that should be horrifying too, right? So, like, there's no specific penalty listed in the bill, but the fact that they want to make it a crime to practice Satanism, however it's defined, should be scary because they are just making this up as they go along. There's one more half of this bill, and this one is just blatantly Christian nationalism. Look at this. Part 1. The General Assembly finds that the Constitution of the state of Iowa acknowledges the supreme being to whom we owe gratitude for blessings received and upon whom we depend for future blessings. It's like, whoa, you're stretching back a while. But look, I went to go look at the Constitution of Iowa. Look at it with me here. Here's the only reference to a supreme being. And it's just like the U.S. Constitution. We, the people of the state of Iowa, grateful to the supreme being for the blessings hitherto enjoyed, and feeling our dependence on him for a continuation of these blessings, yada, yada, yada. Here's the thing. I kind of understand why people would have believed in God 2 centuries ago. You know what I mean? Evolution, the discovery of evolution, all of that helped make it, intellectually okay to walk away from religion. But what are we looking at in that highlighted bit? That's not saying everyone in Iowa believes in God. The government is based on God. No, it's all about just that's how people wrote at the time. It's a template. That is the rhetoric of the time. There's nothing weird about it. And to use that common rhetoric as a way to establish her religion as the official state position of the government is wild. And then this same bill, going back to the bill here, goes on to say there's this long passage that says the General Assembly says, yeah, of course, there are different views regarding religion. And however, through a long line of historical evidence, though a long line of historical evidence exists showing that the values found in the Judeo-Christian faith are fundamental to the foundation and freedoms of the United States of America, the state of Iowa does not grant favored status to any establishment of religion as the official religion in the state of Iowa. Which is a long way of saying, look, we're not establishing religion here. We get that there are non-Christians here. We're just saying Satanists suck, and they're not allowed to take advantage of any religious freedom rules we have here. Why would anyone go along with this? Like, if they're coming after Satanists now, they're going to go after Muslims next. They're going to go after atheists after that. So that's disturbing. The next passage here goes on to say the General Assembly finds that good and evil exist, which is a weird thing to put in law because if you think about any political controversy ever, it's debates about what is good and what is bad. Abortion, is that good or bad? Same-sex marriages, is that good or bad? What about guns? I mean, to me, guns are bad. We should pass laws to get rid of guns, to limit how many people get their hands on semi-automatic rifles. You know what I mean? But to say that God is good and Satanists are inherently bad, that literally ignores everything we know about God if we read the Bible. I don't love quoting Richard Dawkins because he's like a transphobe, but he got this one right. He said, the God of the Old Testament is arguably the most unpleasant character in all fiction. Jealous and proud of it. A petty, unjust, unforgiving control freak. A vindictive, bloodthirsty ethnic cleanser. A misogynistic, homophobic, racist, infanticidal, genocidal, filicidal, pestilential, megalomaniacal, sadomasochistic, capriciously malevolent bully. And just imagine I said that in a British accent. All of that's to say, the people of Iowa don't need protection from Satan. They need protection from God. I've made a video about this on this channel where you could look at the kill counts in the Bible for God and the devil. The devil has like 10. God has over 1 million. So who's the baddie here? You know what I mean? So this bill just doesn't make any sense. I think she's just doing this, Sandy Salmon. I think she's just filing this bill because she's furious that a satanic display got equal access in the state capitol. But what's troubling is she thinks the real problem here is that Satanists requested a display at all, not that religious extremists couldn't handle them. So instead of going after the bigots, she's going after the people whose religious views are different from her own. So that's disturbing. By the way, just like the guy I talked about in the last story, Sandy Salmon is also a MAGA cultist and also a conspiracy theorist who tried to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Now, I will say what I said in the last story. Do I think Iowa lawmakers will actually pass this into law? No, I think it's so blatantly unconstitutional that even they won't do it. But again, these bills are written not to be passed, but to send a message to the conservative Christian voting base. Like, keep voting for us. We got your back. We're going to make sure God and government are intertwined as long as we are in the majority. And I should say, Lucian Greaves, the Satanist who founded the Satanic Temple, he actually wrote about this on his own website, and I wanted to show that to you here. Here we go. This is from his website. He is speaking to Iowa lawmakers. You have become symbols of self-licensing and thoughtless disregard. As emissaries of your God, you are causing people to see only his despotism and inhumanity. You have taught us to seek other means through which to express true ethical humanistic values. You have abandoned liberal democracy in the name of your God, and in doing so, you have given the future to Satan. Hail Satan. So that's Lucian Greaves for you. He also has it right. I think that's a fair point to make. This bill in Iowa has not yet been scheduled for any sort of debate in a subcommittee or anything. But if and when it does, we'll see if it passes. I don't think it will.